Okay, I'm going to paint the water for slide number 7, which is the complementary color for the beach painting. So the water is blue, and where the highlights are, some are kind of orangey and pink. Some is a little sort of like a lavender color, and then it's yellow where the highlights are. And then the darker areas, the top part is cool blue and the bottom part is warm blue. And it has a lot of foam at the bottom. So I might eliminate a lot of that foam just to make it a little simpler to paint. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use my flat brush, and I'm going to use the cool blue. I'm just going to get the regular cool blue on the edge of my brush, and I'm going to paint in a line along the horizon line. Don't want to make it too thick. And I'm using the edge of my flat brush. So the flat brush, you can use two different ways. One is using the edge, like I am, to draw a thin line. Okay, so you're using the edge. And the other way is to turn your brush and use the flat of the brush where you get a wider stroke. So I'm going to add in some more of this warm blue just at the back, just making little horizontal strokes. Then I'm going to mix up some of that where the light is, so it's going to be white and yellow. Okay, and I'm just going to go in between where I painted that cool blue. So I want to keep brushing in horizontal strokes. And keep it uneven. If your green gets too dark, what I do is I go back and I wipe off my brush and get more. And then I'm going to mix more yellow into this green that I've made because it's picking up so much of that blue, and I don't want to lose that it actually is, even though it's kind of like a green, it's also a yellow in the bright areas. You could also, if you want, use orange. Okay, so on this side, I'm going to keep it about that color. And then it changes as it gets closer to the shoreline, and it becomes very foamy and dark. But I think I'm going to change that and just keep painting these same colors all the way down. So when you feel like your brush is picking up too much of the darker color, just go ahead, rinse it out, dry it off, and go back and pick up your light color again. We're going to add yellow and white. And as I get closer to the sun, I'm going to start changing that color. So this is now yellow and white. And then I'm going to mix yellow and a tiny bit of red so that I make some orange, a yellow orange. And that's going to be my light color underneath the sun here. Kind of like a light peach color. And I'm going to paint that in a vertical line, but a very uneven vertical line. I'm going back and forth with my brush, okay, like this. And the strokes are going to get wider, okay, as it gets closer to the shoreline. This color in between is sort of between the orange and the yellow green, sort of becomes violet looking. So I'm going to mix red and warm blue and a little white, but really, really pale. So actually, I think I need a lot of white. It's going to go right in there. I think I want it more, I think I want it lighter than that. I'm still painting horizontally, and I'm leaving gaps between my strokes. And I'm going to do the same thing on this side. So you can see where that reflection in the water, it's very uneven, and that's what you want. You want to keep it uneven so that it makes it look like there's water there and it's moving. Okay. I'm going to blend these a little bit more. Okay, now I'm going to go back and put in these dark blues again. This is the warm blue, and I mixed a little bit of black into it. And I'm going to use that same color, and I'm going to draw a thin line right along the edge of the foam. That's going to be the shadow so that the foam looks three-dimensional. Then I'm going to take my round brush and I'm going to dip it into the white, and I'm going to start making my foam. So the foam is not just pure white, it's really just, it's kind of violet and in parts blue. So when I paint the foam along that edge, I'm going to try to blend it in with that line that I just created, so it creates a soft edge right there, creating a shadow. So what I've been doing is using the white to add in the foam, and now I'm going to mix the foam with some other colors, just where the sun is hitting the foam. So I'm going to add some yellow in right there. And the foam is a little bit more irregular, so you don't paint it in completely horizontal. And add light and dark areas. So I painted in first kind of a light blue foam, and I'm going back and putting in the pure white on top. Okay, I'm going to leave the water like that for now, and I'm going to paint in the sand so that I can have some kind of contrast between the two, and I can gauge these colors better once I get the sand in. So the sand, I'm going to mix the burnt sienna. We haven't used this yet. So this is that brown. And I'm going to use yellow ochre, which is that tan color. I'm going to mix those two together. So I get this kind of dark reddish brown color. I'm going to mix a tiny bit of white in there. All right. I think I want a little darker, so I'm going to add a tiny bit of blue. Okay. I'm going to paint right along that edge that I made for the foam earlier. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to paint in my islands and the coconut tree. So I'm going to use that same burnt sienna color, that brown, and I'm going to mix it with some black. And then I'm just going to add the tiniest bit of white. And I'm going to paint in the islands. Okay, then I'm going to start my tree on this side. I'm going to make the tree a little bit more simple than what I see in the photo. So I'm going to paint the main part of the fronds first, and then I'm going to paint all the little fronds off of it. So I'm going to take my brush and I'm going to push and then I'm going to lift up so that I get a little point.